everybody! So since February was such a short month, I already have another wrap-up video for you. I read 10 books this month, although one of them I actually read half of last month, so I guess really it's 9.5, but that's still quite a lot. I'm pleased with that considering how busy I was, and let's get started with those. The book I had to finish reading at the beginning of this month was Of Poseidon by Anna Banks. Of Poseidon is a mermaid story set in our world, so it's kind of modern and believable, and it starts off with our protagonist Emma on a holiday with her best friend Chloe. They've gone to the beach and Emma quite literally bumps into a very handsome boy called Galen, only he's not a boy, he's a merman, or in this series they call them Serena. And something really tragic happens that day at the beach, something that shocked me. I thought this book would be one to pull more punches than that, but it didn't. And the rest of it is quite romantic. Galen has been looking for Emma, and this book is going to tell you why. The second book I read was actually another one on my TBR, so yay me. It is Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the first book in the Lux series. And this is about a girl called Kat who moves house, and her next door neighbour is the rather sexy but absolutely horrible to her guy. I think his name is Demon, but I kind of like to call him Damon instead because Demon just seems ridiculous. And yeah, he's really dicky to her for a lot of this book, and I like the fact that they don't sort of fall into each other's arms immediately like, take me, I'm yours. Like there's resistance there, there's fighting there, and I appreciated that. The supernatural elements of this book I didn't expect, partly because I didn't read about this book before I read it. I wanted to be surprised, and I was. I probably will read the rest of this series, but I'm not in a great hurry to. It didn't impress me that much, but I did enjoy it. The next book I read was still sticking to my TBR. It's Fracture Me by Tahereh Mafi, the novella between Unravel Me and Ignite Me. And I didn't really want to read this. I wasn't looking forward to being inside Adam's perspective, but I'm so glad that I did, because this changed my expectations of Ignite Me, the third and final book in the trilogy, which I read after this, because oh my god, I did not think that the inside of Adam's head was going to be like this. I didn't think that he saw Juliet the way that he sees her, and I got really annoyed with him. He was really kind of belittling about her and dismissive of her, and this is a girl that could kill him if she wanted to, so where's the respect? The novellas for this series really have helped me enjoy the main books, so I really recommend reading the novellas. Like I said, the book I read after Fracture Me was Ignite Me, and this is the third and final book in the Shatter Me trilogy by Tahereh Mafi, and it was my favourite book, and it had so much wish fulfillment. It made my month. It was so much fun. I have a video on this which I'll link below. I spent the whole time reading it, curled up in my bed, squealing with joy each time Tahereh Mafi gave me something I wanted, although I didn't necessarily know that it was what I wanted. It was really good. Not perfect, like it has a lot of faults, but in terms of just reader enjoyment, it was wonderful, and I really recommend this series, if not just for the amazing covers. My video I actually recorded at a park where I live, where the plum blossoms are starting to bloom, because, I don't know, I feel like this book is spring. The first book was a kind of autumn, the second book was winter, and this book is spring, and Juliet, the main character, is blooming. I probably should have explained a bit more of the plot of this, but I'm just going to link the video below. After Ignite Me, I read Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry. I'd seen the Bookables talk about this series a few times, and it's a very modern romance with some really messed up teenage characters. The main characters are Echo and Noah, and they've been through some stuff, and you really find yourself rooting for them and wanting them to come through the other side of their suffering and come through it together. I really enjoyed it. It was very believable, well paced, I thought, and I would be interested in reading the other books in the series, although I'm not in a great hurry to. After that I started to deviate from my TBR a little bit because I couldn't quite decide what I wanted. Originally I was going to read quite happy, fluffy romances like Stephanie Perkins and Rainbow Rowell, because it's the romantic month, it's Valentine month. But after reading Pushing the Limits, which had a little bit of grit to it, and deciding that I wanted to read more from a male perspective, I picked up Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. I originally had wanted to save this for a sort of Halloween, but I'm glad I read it now. I really enjoyed it. I loved being in Kaz's perspective, and although I didn't find him like 100% likable, I thought his kind of arrogance was realistic. I did like him, and I really liked his relationship with Anna, although I'm not sure quite how much I believed the development of it, but it's kind of retrospectively understandable. Like, what I mean is the build up to it was lacking enough that when suddenly, oh, there's feelings here, I thought, oh, that was kind of sudden. But then when I look back over it and I think about Kaz and who he is and the life he's lived, I think, oh, okay, well that does make a bit of sense. After that, I was in the mood for something trashy and mindless, so I picked up Existence by Abbi Glines, and yeah, I didn't think much of it. I haven't had to talk negatively about a book yet, so I'm not quite sure how to do it, because obviously some people did enjoy this book. The reviews for it on Amazon were really quite good. But I just found the writing read like fan fiction so much. It was like right by numbers. There was no beauty there. There was only cliche. The main girl in it is called Pagan Moore, I think. Pagan is her name. What? And I didn't get what was special about her. Yes, she has this ability which is not an ability that most humans have, so I guess that's the definition of special, but the rest of her was decidedly average, and yet somehow Death falls in love with her. This guy here is supposed to be Death, but guess what his human name is? Dank. His human name is Dank, and not just that, Dank Walker. For God's sake, just give him a normal name. Call him Bob if you have to, just don't call him Dank. After that, I really needed to read something that I trusted to have good writing in it, so I picked up Goddess by Josephine Angellini. This is the third and final book in the Starcross trilogy, and this trilogy has been amazing. I can't talk too much about it because it is a finale, but this book did not stop, and Josephine Angellini was juggling so many characters, so many little sort of relationship plots, that I think she's not only a really good writer, she must just be a really clever person, because I felt like she just mined mythology for everything she wanted and just took all the best bits. And not just Greek mythology, there's some Arthurian myths and legends in there as well. She just took what she wanted and she used it how she wished, and she made me believe there was enough sort of rich, colourful information in there that it didn't seem wholly far-fetched. Maybe the least realistic part was how so many of the characters were paired off with each other. Maybe that was a bit too neat and tidy, although one character is not paired off and I felt so sorry for that character given the fact that so many others are. But I'm not going to tell you, you should read this. I'm surprised that not more people talk about it on YouTube. It's incredibly good. Really well plotted, really well laid out, and although I was irritated by the sort of love triangle in the second book, which is Dreamless, I didn't mind it so much by the end, and it wasn't dragged out too much in this book, so I really appreciated that. Then I read Reboot by Amy Tintara. I've been wanting to read this for a long time, but I didn't plan to read it in February because I wanted something fluffier, and I thought this was going to be a bit too sterile. In the end, because I have a problem with science fiction, I find them a bit sterile, and this isn't science fiction, although it does have some futuristic elements. However, I still didn't bond with it quite as much as I was hoping to. It's about a girl called Ren 178, and she's called 178 because she was dead for 178 minutes before she rebooted or came back to life. Basically, in this world, human beings are dying of a virus, and after they die of that virus, some of them reboot and come back. And the longer you are dead for, the less human you are when you reboot and come back. So, because she was dead longer than anyone else that has ever rebooted. Ren is kind of the top dog at the facility, which is kind of a government enforcement facility. She is almost like a police task force, and she's one of the best because she's stronger, faster, and she's less human. She has less emotion. Then she is paired with Callum, 22. So he was dead for 22 minutes before he rebooted, and he's basically human. He's very sort of soft, he cries, he has compunctions about killing people, which Ren does not, and of course things start to happen between them, and there is where it kind of fell down for me, because I liked Ren when she was less human, but I felt like once she started to feel for him, she was kind of like every other, you know, female protagonist who falls in love. So that was a little bit disappointed, but it was well written, and I do want to read the rest of this to see what happens. I have the feeling this could be one of those trilogies that maybe gives us a sucker punch ending. So yeah, I do want to read more of this, and I did enjoy it, just not as much as I thought. And the final book I'm actually 100 pages away from finishing, but I still have tonight and tomorrow, so I'm almost positive that I'll finish it before February is done with me. It is a bind-up of the entire Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is by far the best fantasy trilogy that I've ever read, and I've read some absolute amazing fantasy, because pretty much all I read when I was a teenager was fantasy. I'm rereading this because after the Farseer trilogy there is a trilogy called the Tawny Man trilogy, and now Robin Hobb, and it follows the same characters, and Robin Hobb this year is releasing the first book in a new trilogy with the same characters, and I don't know, I'm really worried that the people I love in this trilogy and the next one are going to be old in her new trilogy, and that I'm not going to get what I want, because this trilogy, these characters are really special to me. In fact, these are probably the most important books to me that I have ever read. I love the characters in these more than I love any characters, bar none, and I'm both incredibly excited and really fearful about what's to come, so I've decided to reread them. The first book is Assassin's Apprentice, and I'm reading that now. The second one is Royal Assassin, and the third one is Assassin's Quest. So I've decided to try and read once a month if I can. So this month is Assassin's Apprentice, which I've nearly finished, and next month will be Royal Assassin. The characters in this are wonderful, and I can sort of understand why maybe people reading this for the first time, because the first book is, a lot of it is spent in the perspective of a very young boy, but trust me, that boy grows up and you'll be following him for a long time once you read this, because once you read this you will want to read more. It's just epic in every sense of the word. It just keeps expanding out and out and out and out, and yet those most central characters remain the most important and the most beloved, and my heart is actually pounding talking about it because I'm really anxious and yet excited. There will be a review of that when I can formulate my thoughts to be even semi-eloquent, because right now, as you can see, I'm like, oh God, be still my heart. And there you have all the books I read in February. I consider that a really good reading month, because my goal really is just to read about 5 books a month, and I read 10, so, although one of them was a novella, so that's kind of cheating, I know. Who knows how much I'm going to read in March. I'll start compiling my TBR, and hopefully there'll be a video on that soon. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having a very nice day, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye!